Live, here we are once again, R. Christian Minson at your service. Certified Transformational Breath Facilitator, Senior Trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation the last 12 years. Director of the Breathwork Program here at Rythmia Life Advancement Center, Guanacaste, Costa Rica, where it is nice and cloudy today. Cloudy, I love it when it's cloudy because that means the sun isn't beating down on me. If you're tuning into the recording of this, it will be about 4 minutes in or so that we get started with the content. So just skip to that point, and we'll get started with content. But until then, I'm saying hello to everybody joining, and I see Claudia Salerno, my amiga from San Diego, Carlsbad, Encinitas. Welcome. Good to see you here. Susie, Karen, welcome both of you. Sending me love. Thank you, Claudia. We'll see you soon there, as I am in San Diego in just about 3 weeks to offer my own transformational breath seminar. And that's coming up. If you want to know more about that, go to my website, www.breathflow.com, the flow of the breath, breathflow.com. But that's not the scope of what we're talking about today, so I'll let you look that up if that's of interest. Gord Barrett, my #1 attendee. He's here every week. I love it that you're there, Gord. Thanks a lot. Karen Perry, hello. A lot of names I'm recognizing from the past, past people who have been here to Rythmia. And then that's what this is for, really, to keep that conversation alive for those of you who have been here before. For those of you who have not, this is also for you to get to know us, to find out what Rythmia is all about, to find out what we're all about, the people who are here. You know, I think Rythmia really is about the people. It is the people that make it. At least that's what the people who come here tell us time and time again. Just adjusting the lighting there. So it's good to get to know the people. Are they your kind of people? Are we your tribe is basically it. What up, Gord? I'm here doing the Rythmia thing. So, yep, you know what that's all about. 24/7 on duty to serve you, to get you to your miracle. And that miracle can be physical, can be emotional, ultimately spiritual. That's my favorite kind of miracle, one that wraps all three of those up in a nice package. Jason is on. Hey, Jason. When are you coming back, Jason? Jason's been here a few times already. CJ, hey. The rich people. Right on. So I'm going to give another half minute to minute to get some folks on the live stream here, and then we'll get started. The topic today is biohacks for exceptional living, and this is a great topic. So say hello if you're getting on there. Annette, Erska, hello, and welcome. Everybody's getting on in good fashion. Little low on the attendance here this morning, so I'll give it another 30 seconds. How about we'll just try to get a few more on, and then we'll get started. Yeah, you can play with your buttons, start giving me thumbs up and likes and hearts, so that when I say something you really resonate with, you can give it to me. Every member of the staff is amazing at Rythmia. Gord says, I'll be back soon, my brother. I have someone towards my Send 3 Heal Free, which is our promotion. If you come here, you go back and you get 3 people to come back, you could come for free, which is an amazing promotion. And Gord is on top of it. Okay, so here we go. Top of the hour. I am here to say welcome to Rythmia Life Advancement Center Facebook Live, Friday afternoon, Breathwork Edition. My name is Christian Minson, R. Christian Minson. director of the Breathwork program here at Rythmia Life Advancement Center, Guanacaste, Costa Rica, certified transformational breath facilitator. I'm a speaker, an author. Hey, let's show you this one, this book, Align, Expand, and Succeed, Shifting the Paradigm of Entrepreneurial Success. I had a part in this, one of 40 authors who takes you on a journey of merging consciousness and business, a book you can get here at Rythmia when you're here. I highly recommend it. And basically an internet coach and your catalyst for awakening and transformation, both here at Rythmia and abroad. So before we get into our topic today is biohacking for exceptional living. So we're really talking about ways to enhance the natural flow of our system to live better. Before we begin, I'd like to make an announcement, two announcements. We're looking at 2 specialty weeks we have here in November. The first one is Breathwork Week. So Breathwork Week is my favorite week because it's all about breathwork. In other words, we're not doing plant medicine that week. All of the ceremonies, which are 7 in total, we do a ceremony every day of the week here. Normally there are 3 breathwork ceremonies and 4 plant medicine ceremonies. During Breathwork Week, those 4 plant medicine ceremonies are replaced with 4 more beefed up breathwork ceremonies. So they're even a little more potent than the normal breathwork ceremonies that we have. So if you cannot do plant medicine because your doctor told you to, or you're not sure that you morally, ethically, or whatever reason you have that you don't want to do plant medicine, or you're just a little uncertain, maybe a little scared about it, but you still want to have that 95% chance of attaining your miracle, which Rythmia boasts. People who come here, 95% of them leave with what they wanted to achieve. And this is a real number. This is a real number reported by the people who come here. If you want that chance and you don't want to do plant medicine, Breathwork Week is for you. That's November 17th week, the week of November 17th through, I think it's 24th or something like that. Greg Braden, good personal friend and amazing thought leader. I was just on the phone with him yesterday. In fact, he will be here as the guest, the special guest for the week. So you get the power of Greg Braden, and he'll be talking about the biology of emotional release. I've seen him do this piece many times in the past, and it works perfectly with the whole breathwork setup because, spoiler alert, breathwork is one of the ways to get that emotional release. So Greg Braden, Breathwork Week, the 17th of November. Then the following week, which I believe is the 24th of November, which goes through Thanksgiving, is LGBTQ week, LGBTQ. So if you're either LGBT or Q or friendly to any of those letters, come on down. It's going to be a great week. We got Ben Decker, Jennifer Sodini, and who was the third? Jordan Rivers. Jordan is from Spirit Science. Ben Decker is actually here this week as well, so I know how powerful he is. Jennifer Sodini's coming in. So they'll all be, you have 3 guest speakers that week. Normally we only have 1. So that's going to be an amazing week. So if you are interested in those specialty weeks, come on down and join the fun. Maria Palomino is on today. Excellent. And she's saying, hey, love from Rythmia, because she's probably I probably could see her in the pool area or something. She's actually here right now. So I love it. I should start having a live studio audience. If you want to come down to the studio, Maria, and be my sole audience, I'm happy to have you. Isaac Mackey joined. Beautiful. He's from Rythmia there in our Malibu office, and Jennifer Sodini's on. So Jennifer, I gave you a plug for LGBTQ week, and you're also coming. Is it next week? again, if you type in, I'll let people know when you're coming as well. Kevin Peterson. All right, so here we go. Enough with the pleasantries. We are now talking biohacking for exceptional living. So why is this an important topic? We had a few guys here, Biohacking Secrets, a few weeks back. They're amazing guys, really into, oodles and oodles of ways to biohack. And they gave me their book, and I started reading it. And really, the premise here is that, the premise that we have at Rythmia too is your body, mind, and soul is fully capable of healing itself if given the natural means to stay in balance, which means good foods and a healthy environment, both emotionally stable and good, good spiritual, a good spiritual environment. The problem is these days that the world, by and large, does not give us this this perfect environment, does it? I mean, with our food alone, we can see that the vitamins and minerals that were in the soil that are feeding the tomatoes and the vegetables and the things that we then eat has been depleted by, I don't know what the figures are, but if the minerals and vitamins aren't in the soil, they're not making it to the food, and we can eat all the vegetables we want then, but we're not getting, adequate amounts of those vitamins and minerals. And this is happening on all these levels of our being, where, our emotional environment is largely not stable and not safe enough to give us, proper emotional development. Our spiritual environment generally is not wise enough these days to help us navigate the true essence of figuring out who we are at our core nature, which is, a piece of that universal being. So biohacks are necessary. Biohacks, what is a biohack then? A biohack is basically a way of working with the natural system. So the system we're really talking about today is us, our body, mind, heart, and soul. The natural way that the system works, a biohack works to enhance the natural flow of the system, as opposed to what I would call the interruptive approach. Now, you might say, if you take a pharmaceutical drug, that's often an interruptive approach. It goes in and it counters the natural system. It does something to stop the natural system in order to create some kind of effect. Now, what's interesting about that is it usually creates that effect, which may be what we're looking for, but then it creates a whole host of other effects, which they call side effects. But what side effects really are just effects. You take this thing, you get all of these effects. They're just one effect that you wanted, but 20 effects that you didn't want. And so those 20 effects are messing with the natural flow of that system. All right, so this is an interruptive approach. This is not biohacking. Treatments for cancer, like radiation and chemotherapy, they're about as far from working with the natural system as you can get. These therapies are actually killing cells. They are therapies to kill cells. Now we're pretending that they're killing only cancer cells, but these therapies aren't that finely guided. They're killing any cell that comes in contact with either the chemo or the radiation, and that means healthy living cells too. And so, in a healthy living system, to kill cells in that system is far removed from being in the flow of that system. So, again, biohacks are helping us, taking the system as it works already, how we operate, and finding ways to enhance the way it works in as close to that natural system as possible. All right, so what are, how do we biohack them? What are some of the biohacks that we use here at Rythmia too? A simple biohack, for instance, is juicing. We have a great juice program here you can opt into. And why is juicing a biohack? Because again, excuse me, we talked about when we're feeding ourselves, the natural way, if all things considered, if the natural way would be to pick fruits and vegetables and eat off the land and get all of our nutrition that way. But our fruits and vegetables have been largely denatured. So juicing is a biohack because it takes those fruits and vegetables and it concentrates their vitamin and mineral content by juicing it, getting a lot of vitamin and mineral in a very small amount of juice. Now, that small amount of juice may come from oodles of vegetables that you wouldn't have wanted to eat, or you couldn't eat. You wouldn't have a stomach full for them. But you can drink that juice, and that then feeds you the vitamins and minerals, right? So that is that's one example of a biohack that we have here at Rythmia. There are the cleanses. We have here the Dead Sea Cleanse. This is a colon cleanse, somewhat of a colonic. And colonics, again, are a biohack, right? We naturally eliminate, but because of the way, the denatured quality of our food, the lifestyle, the less than wholesome lifestyle that many of us find ourselves living, or just because our lifestyle is so crazy, we're focused on work all the time, or we're stressed out, and stress adds a lot of negative chemicals into our system, that our elimination system becomes compromised. And if we can't eliminate properly, the toxins seep back into our body and they cause problems, and we get degenerative diseases and all those kinds of things. So a colonic, or the Dead Sea Cleanse that we offer here, is a biohack. It's a way to help us eliminate the toxins out of our system that wouldn't that would be eliminated, all things considered, if we were in a healthy state. But if our health is compromised, this is going to help us get those out, because we otherwise couldn't in our health compromised state. Okay, so those are two very basic biohacks. So we have the ante here. Breath work, which I teach, and that's always tends to be the focus of this this program, is a biohack. We breathe naturally, right? Breath is the essence of life. If we're not breathing, we're essentially dead. However, we've developed all sorts of dysfunctional patterns in our lives, and maybe you've heard me talk about this over the many Facebook Lives. When we have emotional trauma, we repress our feelings and all this, we start to modify the way we breathe. And why we do this is usually to protect ourselves. The trauma, we store this trauma, we store these emotional energies, and we lock them down. Basically, we try to, it's like putting the skeletons in the closet, as the cliche goes. You lock that closet and try to ignore that they're there. But those things keep rearing their ugly heads over time and affect the way that we live. As the great psychotherapist Sigmund Freud once said, unexpressed emotions never die, they just reemerge in darker and uglier ways. Which means that every emotion that we stuff down and haven't actually fully expressed or fully integrated, excuse me a second. Every emotion that we haven't integrated is still in us and still trying to get out. And if we don't let it out the natural way, it starts to leak out in darker and uglier ways. And that you can just see. Look at the state of the world these days, and it's largely people are acting so crazy because this energy is influencing them. It's influencing the people you hang out with. It's influencing the opportunities that you choose or don't choose. You know, it's influencing the way you feel on a daily basis. So, these dysfunctional patterns interrupt the natural flow of our breath, and we need some kind of way to hack back into our natural flow. Also, we're breathing, most people in this dysfunctional pattern end up breathing about 20% of their capacity. At that, some people I see breathe at like 10%. The breath is so shallow. And oxygen is our #1 energy source. It is the thing that keeps us going. I mean, we can go without food for 40 days, without water for about 5 days. We can go without breath for about 5 minutes before, you know, it's curtains for us. So we need this oxygen, and we're largely just giving ourselves enough to get by, enough to live, you know, live like a walking zombie, basically. And people wonder, why do I feel so tired all the time? Why am I so dead? Why does any task seem to take so much energy? Why am I so lethargic? It's because you're only fueling yourself with 10% of the energy, 20% of the energy that you need to really thrive. Okay, so I'm just realizing I watched Jerry's Facebook Live the other day, and he's got all these great hand movements. So I think I'm subconsciously starting to use those. Anyway, we're breathing at this low capacity, and our breath is dysfunctional. So breath work is a biohack. We come in and we do this intensified form of breathing, which you know, gets us to open up our respiratory capacity, start breathing more fully, more like 70, 80, 90% of our capacity. It helps us to relax and start to let go of all of the garbage that's inside of us. And it gets our breath flowing again. So what's amazing about this breath work that I teach and we offer here at Rythmia is that it not only brings about emotional catharsis, like takes all that garbage that we've been storing for years and dredges it up and it purges it, basically, integrates that energy for you. Not only does it do that, but this specific technique that I teach gives you a form of breathing to model every breath you take. Again, so this is a biohack, a way to learn how to breathe better again with every breath you take, so that over the long term, you don't have to come and get these, what I call therapeutic sessions, where you sit down, you actually go through this process, you release a lot of stuff, you cry, you feel great, all that. And then you go back into life, and life beats you up a little bit more. You come back again. If you can learn to breathe this way with every breath you breathe, then as you're going through life, you meet some obstacle and you breathe your way through it. You don't have to let that obstacle, you know, create a repression or suppression that then you have to fix later on in life. You learn how to deal with life in a moment-to-moment basis, and it all starts with the breath. So the breath work is a supreme biohack. Hey, what? Wheat belly is an interesting read. Grains are, all right. Wheat belly. So Blake is telling me some kind of book. Grains will definitely sap your energy until you eliminate them. Okay, so this is, you know, just some nutritional wisdom. If you want to look in the comments, you can follow up on that. And probably our #1 biohack here is ayahuasca, or plant medicine. This plant medicine, the active ingredient in plant medicine is DMT. And DMT is the active ingredient, well, it's the active ingredient in plant medicine, but it's also naturally produced in the brain. And it's the chemical that comes out when we're dreaming. So, you know, when we have all these crazy visions and things in our dreams, it comes forth when we have epiphanies or deep realizations. And so when we take plant medicine, we are adding DMT into our system, which then allows us to achieve these sort of, what I say, altered states or higher conscious states that come, when we have these epiphanies or these realizations, or even in dreams. I don't know if you've ever had a dream where it answers questions for you. It guides you, because it's your subconscious and even your superconscious mind working out answers to problems you have, and then it comes in the form of this dream, which leads me to say that we've been largely talking about physical biohacks, ways to enhance the physical system and a little bit the emotional system with the breath work. And what I think is great about Rythmia here, that the biohacks that we use are also spiritual biohacks, and that's where the two spiritual biohacks that were mandated to Jerry, our CEO, from the moon, from his sole source of guidance, were plant medicine and breath. Plant medicine and breath were the two cornerstones of this program that Jerry was given through his own downloads, through his own plant medicine downloads, to say that this program would run from these cornerstones, and we would heal millions of people here at this place. So, why are they spiritual biohacks? We talked about DMT just a minute ago, and actually both plant medicine and breath work work to release DMT. So somebody was just asking me yesterday, is it true that the lungs hold the most amount of DMT? And I'm not sure if it's that they hold the most, but I do know that deep rhythmic breathing, sort of deep accelerated rhythmic breathing, will actually release DMT into your system. So breathwork will give you many of the same realizations and epiphanies that happen with plant medicine. Of course, plant medicine, as we just mentioned, puts that DMT into your system and gives you that greater clarity. So why is this called a spiritual biohack? Because what's happening here is we're tuning in to our higher conscious energy, right? The higher conscious energy seems to, it's like, when we get into these awakened states, it's like we pull back the curtains, and we can see clearly for a moment or a few moments the relationship we have to the entirety of life and the planet and beyond. And in that moment, we understand, we get a sense of who we are as spirit, which is largely not available in our day-to-day world. If I can get philosophical with you for a minute, where the world is in a cycle. It's in continuous cycles, and we go from a lower conscious age all the way up to a highest conscious age, and then we go back down. But as we're doing this, we're going in an even bigger cycle that around these cycles, and we go up to there. So from the philosophies that I study and subscribe to, we're pretty low on the wheel right now. So, which means that the general consciousness of the planet is not very high, right? And I'd say most of you can agree with me on that. You just look around anywhere. That doesn't mean everybody is of lower consciousness. Even within those, each individual is on their own cycle as well. So you can have people who are in their own personal high point of their energetic or intellectual cycle, while the masses are at the lower point. But I mention this because this biohacking, by getting into the breath or working with plant medicine, helps us to see our relationship to the cycle and see our relationship to our own consciousness, and that we get a boost. Essentially, it's almost like you get a free pass to go to the top and see the view from the top, and then but then you have to go back down And that's the whole thing. All of these things, I mentioned Greg Braden in the beginning. He gave me this concept that all these things are basically an awakening, right? So that we have this, we have this opening of our consciousness. We see, we're awakened. We understand. We see the path. It's like we're trying to get to some destination, and now we see a map to get there. But then, the medicine wears off. You finish your breathwork session. You go back to relatively where you were to begin with, but now you know the direction you have to go, right? You know the path that you have to trod. So this, that's the awakening phase. Then, as Greg Braden explained, there's the mastery phase. The mastery phase is taking your awakening and applying it on a day-to-day basis. And this is really what life is all about. You've heard that cliche, life is a journey, not the destination, right? So the awakening can give us a sense of a destination point, or at least, the direction we're heading in. The mastery phase is to start walking the journey, and walking the journey, staying awake. So we bring that awakening with us everywhere we go. It's easy to awaken, but it's a little more difficult not to let that awakening close down, and then we go back to our old self. So we want to stay open and awake and continue that journey. So breath work and plant medicine are two hacks that have physical physical benefits. People have been cured of or of many different physical ailments through doing plant medicine. Breathwork has helped balance people's physical beings. Emotionally, of course, they're working to help your emotions balance, and as we said, dredge up all that old energy. And then, and of course, as we said, the whole spiritual dimension. It gives us access to that, gives us an understanding of where we're headed, so that we can start to walk that path and not walk a path that takes us in a different direction. If we know we're headed here, if we don't know where we're headed, we might walk this way, we might walk that way, or we might walk that way and get lucky, right? But if we see, through an opening, through an awakening, we see where we're headed, then we know we don't need to walk that way or that way. We can take our energy and apply it to this direction. And the only direction of happiness is towards that destination. These other ways will just confuse you, annoy you, just make you unhappy. And again, this is largely the state of the world. Nobody knows where we're going, so everybody is wandering this way and finding out, nope, that didn't bring happiness. Then they're going this way, nope, that didn't bring happiness. And if they're lucky, along that way, it could be very dangerous, either physically, emotionally, or spiritually, or just could be a very rough time. And I don't know about you, but I've had enough rough times. I'm ready for conserving my energy and putting it towards a destination and goal that really matters. Let's just check in as I'm talking. Anita, I've dreamt that I'm dreaming, which is strange. That is a pretty, have you watched the movie Inception, Anita? That sounds like what you're doing there. Gord is saying, here, everyone watch. What are you showing us? This is the link to DMT, the spirit molecule. So very informative documentary about the substance. So Gord is giving us a resource if you want to understand more about DMT. You might also watch The Reality of Truth. I'll just write that in there. Watch The Reality of Truth to understand more about plant medicine. And probably many of you have. Of course, those that have come here most likely have. If you're thinking of trying plant medicine, watch the documentary Mrs. Moon's Medicine or The Reality of Truth. Great. Gord put those both in there as well with links. So good job, Gord. Thanks for being on top of it. Anita, I definitely had a few realizations during your breathwork class, which surprised me, but I didn't understand the significance until a little after. And that's often the case. Once again, I use the analogy here, our normal consciousness, we're in like kindergarten, right? Then we have this plant medicine experience, this awakening through either plant medicine or breath work that essentially gives us a college level type concept, all right? This is just an analogy, but in terms of the mentality or the mindset that can understand our normal everyday life and the mindset that that can understand this, we need to grow a little bit. So you get this idea, but sometimes that won't necessarily make sense when you come back to earth, so to speak, because here you are back in your kindergarten mindset, and it's like, what does E equals MC squared really mean? I know E is for elephants and C is for cocoon, and you're thinking from that kindergarten mentality. Not until you start the mastery process, right? You start walking the path, does all of a sudden the elements that you need to help you understand what this concept actually means in your life come to life. So this is what you're experiencing, Anita, and it's a pretty typical thing. And Gord's already got me covered there. Good. Hi, Christian. How long is the minimum time for a breathwork session? So Eric is asking. And good question. The minimum time is as much time as you've got. So we send people home with a 5-minute practice. We call the 100 breaths to joy. 5 minutes. 100 breaths means 1, 2. So you count to 100. That's 100 breaths. 100 breaths takes 5 minutes to do, more or less. So that's the minimum you need to do each day. And if you would do that, if you would commit to doing that each day, you would start to see changes in your life. It's incredible, but just 5 minutes of this practice will start to bring more awareness. First, more awareness of your breath. You start realizing where you're not breathing. When you're sitting by your computer and all of a sudden, wow, I've been holding my breath for 2 minutes. That's not a good thing. If you're unconsciously holding your breath, you're suspending life in that moment. The cessation of breath is the cessation of life. So you don't want to go down that alley. But that 5 minutes will start to bring more awarenesses. It will start scratching at the surface of all this energy that we want to release and get rid of. And then of course, if you're going to do a deeper dive breath work, I usually recommend an hour. An hour, if you do this transformational breath technique that I teach, is about all you need. If you do other techniques, they'll often go for 2 hours or 3 hours, which is fine. Again, the longer you go, maybe the more you can get. But I know very few people who have 2 or 3 hours to just dedicate to breath work, especially if you're doing it on a regular basis. So if you can do just an hour. Now, the caveat there is that you use a facilitator in the beginning. Not because it's dangerous to breathe, but because it's very powerful to breathe. The effects of breathing can be very powerful. And like I said, here you are in this kindergarten level, all of a sudden you get this big aha, and you're a little disconcerted, discombobulated. The other thing is, oftentimes you dredge up all that deep, dark garbage and it's on its way out. But on its way out, you're grappling with it. It's crossing your conscious threshold momentarily and then being expunged from your being. And in that, you can get a little, if you're not used to dealing with that energy, which you probably aren't because that's why you've been stuffing it for so long, you may find yourself concerned and you might want to stop the breathing, or you say, oh, this breathing doesn't work. It's making me more scared than it is happy or whatever. The worst thing you could do is stop your breathing session right in the middle of it, because now you brought all this energy up, but you haven't completed the cycle so that you could actually release it. And now you've got all this stuff swirling, and then you're cursing me and you're cursing the technique, and you say, I never want to do this again. So I don't want that to happen. So find a facilitator in your area. Find somebody. I also do sessions by video chat. So if you want, friend me on Facebook, and we can follow up there. So how long? Yeah, so I answered that. You need to be more specific. I was particularly bothered by the sounds the men were making as opposed to the women. I realized that there's a fear of men in me, not because I thought I was in danger, but just because I fear the unpredictability of other humans. Yeah, and likely I would say that came from an early childhood experience that, and especially probably happened with strange men that you didn't know, and there was, a circumstance where you were a little threatened, or you could have been a little threatened or very threatened, or it could have been a very traumatic experience. It could have been mildly traumatic, but that experience then is imprinted in you, so that when you have these, when you go through the breathwork process now, the sounds of the toning or the other things that are going on trigger that. This is the good news, though, actually, because again, it's activating that energy that you've stuffed down. You pretended it wasn't there, right? You said, "Oh, I'm fine. I feel great." But you don't realize that you're walking around avoiding men, or some guy asked you out on a date who, if you had given him a chance, you'd find out he was Mr. Perfect for you. But because he behaved or acted in a way that triggered that energy deep inside you, you didn't give him a chance. All these things, everything we do is influenced by that energy you're holding on to. So as it comes up, again, yes, it may seem disconcerting because you're like, I don't like this energy. But this is the good news, because as we say here, what's coming is going. What's coming is going, meaning what's coming up for you during these processes like breathwork or the plant medicine, it's going to be released. And so you want to keep on with it. You don't want it to come up and then be like, I don't like this, I'm out of here. Now, again, that energy is just up for you, and you're hypersensitive to men and strange noises and all that. Hopefully that makes some sense. Zen Lin is on. All right. And Anita's saying, indeed. Great. Thanks. And this is getting me close to the end. If you got any other questions, you're free to ask. I want to say I've been exploring another biohack lately, and that is stem cell treatment. Stem cells, if you think about it, we are made up of cells. This is what our biological being is everything you see here is just to put together a bunch of cells. And those cells were once stem cells. Stem cells are undifferentiated, pure. They're about the most, the way I look at it, they're like the manifestation of pure cosmic energy, pure pranic energy. Energy came to create physicality, and how it got to bone, muscle, and blood and veins and all that was first through an intermediary of a little packet, a little cell that had no identity. But then as it condenses more and more, they divide and they turn into bone, and divide and turn into muscle, and divide and turn into brain, and all this. So stem cells are at the foundation of everything that of all our body building, the building of our body, the regeneration, the repair of our body. It's a stem cell when you get yourself cut, for instance, and it's stem cells that come in and say, hey, skin needs to be grafted back to skin, so let's create a skin cell and put it back together. Muscle needs to be grafted back to muscle, so let's create muscle cells so we can put those back together. But it's funny because we lose those stem cells fairly early in life. By age 19, we have about 10% of the stem cell that we've got in our body when we're young. And so, another biohack, which I'm really into, is stem cell therapy, where you can add stem cells into your body, and you can get the benefits of their repair, their regeneration, their building. They also regulate the immune system and modulate inflammation in the body. So all these things are, are again what our body does naturally, but perhaps isn't doing as effectively, especially as we move on in years in our life, because we're getting less and less of these cells. And just like, think about at work, if you got 5 people at work and 2 quit, two quit, you've got 3 left doing the same job. 3 people, it's a lot harder for 3 people to cover all that work than it is for 5, right? So if you've got 100 billion stem cells in your body, and then by age 19 you've got 10% of that, which is only 10 billion now, they're having to do a whole lot more than they normally do. So by adding those in, it can increase your health and radiance. So let's see, stem cells are the fountain of youth, blueprint. That's exactly it, Kathy. That's what I'm finding these days. No one would guess that I'm 87 years old, would you? But actually I'm 51 years old as of this broadcast. So hopefully, so I'm a good role model for that one. So with that, if you got any other questions, I'll say that if you want to, I'll stall a little bit to find out if there is any. If you want to friend me on Facebook, be my guest. I am under the name R. Christian Minson, the letter R. Christian Minson. I'm happy to get friend requests. Please forgive me if I'm not responding to those as quickly as possible, and know that the only ones that I can seem to get to are ones that are accompanied by a message. So if you want to friend me, you have to tell me why you're friending me. Say, I just saw you on Facebook Live, or hey, remember I was at Rythmia. It's great. People say I was in group 156 or group 111 or whatever, and that helps me remember who you are too. I'm happy to friend you, but I've got a ton of friend requests that I can't get to because I'm not sure that, I can't take the time to research each person and know where they're coming from. So on that, I'm happy to carry on the conversation if you want to know anything more about what I said. Of course, when to answer your question, Kathy, Facebook message me and I'm happy to talk to you more. What I want to say, just that here we are. Largely what I've talked about is available here at Rythmia Life Advancement Center. We're here to change your life for the better, change your life physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And it is a program on par with none I've ever seen before. It's a cut above for getting people to really wake up. And I'd say, whether you're coming for physical healing, emotional healing, or ultimately the spiritual dimension of it, it ends up being spiritual. And that's what I really love about this, because life to me, as I didn't mention in the beginning of this one, but I was a former monk. I was a monk for 10 years of my life. And that really informs the way I think and speak and relate to the world. I see us as spiritual beings having a physical experience rather than physical beings sometimes having a temporary spiritual awakening. And as spirit beings, it gives me a direction. It gives me a direction to keep moving towards, knowing that everything that happens in life is serving the spiritual dimension of my being. And people largely get that when they come here. Whether they were coming here for that or not, they largely get that. And that doesn't mean that you have to become some crazy religion or something like that. If you have a faith, it will just enhance your understanding of that faith and give you a much clearer way to practice. And if you don't have a faith, often a number of atheists or agnostics have come through here and said, whoa, I didn't believe before, but now I know there's something greater guiding us, and it's benevolent and it's wonderful. And that's largely the experience that most people have here. And And to me, that's about the best experience anybody can have. So the energy refuge that some people become frightened with, is that Kundalini energy? Daniel, it's what I would say is primarily, I mean, Kundalini energy is our life force energy awakening from the bottom of the spine and starting to come online. And it can be, you know, we are much more powerful than we ever thought possible. So if that energy comes online, sometimes we can be taken aback. But what I'm talking about is suppressed negative energy, dark experiences in our lives, traumas, repressions that finally get released. We've been holding on to them for so long, trying not to experience them. They've been leaking out. Finally, we let go of them. That energy comes to the surface, and we're aware of it temporarily while it's on its way out. That's the energy that I say people can get frightened with, because quite frankly, it wasn't very pleasant to experience in the beginning. Now it's not that pleasant to experience on the way out, but that's the only way to get rid of it, to go through it. Fortunately, the program we have here and plant medicine, breath work, and other techniques help you get through that a lot quicker and a lot more gently. Though it might not seem like it at times, it is really a lot more gently than holding on to it and trying to work that stuff out yourself over decades of life. Kathy, you're going to be here next weekend. Excellent. For the first time. Beautiful. That's not this coming weekend, the 3rd, 4th, but next one, the 10th, 11th, and all that. Make sure you introduce yourself to me. Anita, what negative stuff happened to me? There didn't happen to my soul. Exactly, Anita. And that's a good thing to recognize too. The body's like the vehicle. And your soul is like the driver. And if you get in a car wreck, you know, the car may be totaled, but you walk away, you're still intact. You're the driver. So the negative stuff that happens to your body, this being, doesn't affect the soul. It's the body is body might get banged up, and if my life's a testimony, it definitely does. There's probably no way around it. You're going to get a few dents and scratches, but the soul stays pristine and whole. So thanks for that. And Kathy, so you're coming on the 10th. Excellent. Well, definitely reach out to me, and reach out by in Facebook Messenger, and we can talk a little bit more. Okay, on that note then, everybody, I'm getting to the top of the hour. This is R. Christian Minson, Rythmia Life Advancement Center, closing up for Biohacks for Exceptional Living. Hopefully this has been information that has been valuable to you. If so, I don't mind you giving me a few thumbs up and hearts and likes, just as a way for me to feel good inside. Also, if you want topics, if you've got a specific topic, something that you're wanting to know more about in your life, feel free that can be your message to me. Hey, I saw you on Facebook Live. I want to be your friend, and could you talk about this? I'm happy to try to work those things in over time. I'm always looking for new topics, so let it be one that would be important to you. Now, if it's important to you, it's probably important to 7 billion other people. So with that, good, I'm getting the likes and hearts. Thanks a lot, and thank you. It was really helpful. Thank you, Urska, and to all of you out there, until I see you at Rythmia Life Advancement Center, namaste. Have a great day and have a great life. I'll talk to you soon. Over now.